Hello, and welcome to another episode of the award-winning podcast created by Goodwill North Central Texas, GoodCast. It's a show where we take a closer look at the story behind the store and highlight successes made possible thanks to the generous donations of everyday people. Today, we're adding a bit of culture to our show by taking a trip to the Carter. Located in the heart of Fort Worth's cultural district, the Amon Carter Museum of American Art is a must-see for Fort Worth tourists and residents alike. The museum also holds a special place in our hearts for the work it does with our STARS program. STARS, if you'll remember, is Goodwill North Central Texas' life skills program for adults with disabilities. Participants learn daily living skills as well as pre-vocational skills through recreational classroom settings and community outings. The Carter does absolutely fantastic work and has been involved with both our Fort Worth and Grapevine facilities. So today, we're going to speak with Peggy Speir and learn how art and community fit hand in hand.
My name is Peggy Speir, and I am the manager of Access Programs and Resources at the Amon Carter Museum of American Art in Fort Worth.
Okay. How long have you worked here?
Oh, man. 10 years. It was 10 years in August. So I'm currently, the position I have now has only been about 3 or 4 years. I started doing interpretation, which had a lot of access work, making things universally designed so people who walked into the museum could enjoy artwork on their own. And then as time evolved, I started taking on access programming, like Connect to Art is something that was designed out of other needs. And then now I just do exclusively access programming for our populations that have special needs.
So tell me a little bit about the Amon Carter. Like if someone's never been here, how do you describe it?
So we were founded in 1961, and we have expanded over time. We've had a few renovations over the years we've been open. We're an American art museum, so we focus on artists who were working in America and maybe not necessarily American born, but practicing their art in America, or were expats moving to Europe and practicing art there. We, in the more recent years, have been showcasing living artists as well. So whether they're based in our community or other places throughout the country, we're expanding our exposure of American art here at the Carter.
Okay. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, but how does your role play into the organization?
So I'm in the education department, and I work with, right now I'm working mostly with just the education to other educators to create inclusive experiences for tours, walk-in visitor, making sure that working with exhibition to make sure the labels are legible, sizes are, that people can read. Creating tools for visitors who are disabled, so large print labels. We have ASL offerings for lectures or tours. If they, some for our lectures, we have it automatically. For our school tours or things like that, if they request it ahead of time, we're able to get them an interpreter from TCC. So we work with Tarrant County College to give those students a chance to practice signing at some of our programs, things like that. We have colorblind glasses, so I'm providing programming for special needs as well as tools for everybody else to have that universally designed experience in the galleries.
Okay, awesome. How'd you get in touch with the STARS program?
Gosh, it was so many years ago. I'm looking at Liz, who's also sitting at the table. In 2015, we started this program, and I want to say Goodwill has been coming since 2015.
I think it was maybe 17.
17, was it? Okay. When the program started, it was initially for visitors with low, no vision. We were working with Lighthouse for the Blind, and different day hab facilities in the area were calling, asking, hey, I see you have this for low, no vision, but can we bring our adults with intellectual disability, even though we know this isn't really what it's for, but this is something that they could still, enjoy. And so eventually that program was called Close Encounters, which still exists, but a new program, Connect to Art, formed. And so it was kind of just word of mouth because we weren't really sure how much traction this new program would get. And then a couple of years into it, then Goodwill, MHMR, which is another local group, started coming pretty regularly. And now we have different day hab facilities throughout the area that are pretty regular. So yeah, you guys were one of the first and like consistent groups that kept coming, both Fort Worth and Grapevine. So those are, yeah.
Kind of walk me through like what a Connect to Art experience is like.
Sure. So the Connect to Art is typically an on-campus, in-gallery experience. It's totally free. The museum is totally free. We don't want any sort of barrier for cost to be a reason why people aren't coming. So, the program's totally free. We are spending time in the galleries with 2 artworks related to a theme. Typically a theme is something like color or horses, something that keeps it generic but has a focus to pull back to. The conversation does include the art, talks about a little art history, maybe a little bit about the artist, but it's really kind of relating to them on a social, emotional type of connection. Have any of you been fishing? What's your favorite color? Can we list the colors of the rainbow? That type of conversation where you don't have to go into it with any sort of art historical knowledge or follow the history of a particular artist. And then give them reason to talk about creativity in their own life or experiences with their own life, that's the fun conversation. You never know where it's going to go, or who's going to feel inspired by the artworks that day. Sometimes there are people who are particularly quiet some sessions, and then the next session they love learning about landscapes, and so they're very I make landscapes when I'm at home. So I try to vary it to make sure everybody has an entry at some point. So after we spend time with the 2 artworks, and we use tactile tools and sounds, smells, things like that to engage other senses, because everybody's a different learner, we then go into our lounge space and we make an artwork inspired by what the conversation was that they're able to take home with them that day. And we deliberately choose materials that they might not typically be working with, activities that push their eye-hand coordination, their dexterity. If they're unable to participate in a certain activity, there is then the option, it's scaffolded so that one of the facilitators or I can help get them a final product that they can still take home with them.
Yeah. So how do you put together a program like this? Is it like a ton of research or mostly like feedback?
It's been a lot of feedback over the years, working with different community partners who are experts in the field of neurodiversity or a certain disability. For me, for the streamline of it, because I'm doing Alzheimer's programming, I'm doing autism, low-no vision, I pick a theme for the month, so I know I'm only working with 2 to 3 particular artworks. So it keeps it for me pretty locked in terms of what I'm thinking about that month. The same with the art project. The complexity is basically the same for all different disabilities. So again, planning for materials, things like that is consistent. But in terms of, depending on what type of group is, I'll be, really bone up on art history, or I'll really kind of bone up on the experiential side of what that artwork might bring up. Right. And even then, I almost feel like you can prepare all you want, but you never know what conversation will lead you, because people are inspired by so many different things, particularly in this group when there might not be a filter, or there might not be, we're talking about dogs, but they want to talk about cats because they're not a dog person. So, it's a lot of flexibility built into this position or this type of programming that I feel I'm really equipped for, but I'm not sure every type of tour guide is typically equipped for, because there's more of a script involved. This is like totally...
It's a little improv, but you still have like that knowledge.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what do you like about your job?
Oh man, I love it all. The moments we talk about this, sometimes in any job you need a moment where you feel like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And for me, Connect to Art is of all of our access programming, this is like my favorite program. I love doing it because it's like genuinely they're excited about seeing the art, and they're genuinely excited about making art, and everybody has a sense of humor, and it's light typically, and it's you never know what you're going to get. It's not the same tour you're going through. I could have 2 Connect to Arts in one day, and the conversations are so totally different. So these are the wins for me in the gallery, where I see them come in the next time, especially because Connect to Art with Goodwill was coming in, for some, there have been periods where they're coming in once a week. There have been periods where they're coming in once a month. And they'll remember me, or they'll remember, I think I've seen this artwork before, and it was like 3 or 4 years prior, and we're circling back to it. So having them have happy connections to the museum is also something that, for me, is like, okay, yeah, this is why you're doing what you're doing.
Do you have any stories you go back to when you're talking to people about your job? I remember one day such and such happened, or I had this one group and they did X, Y, Z.
And I have throughout my life, but I now have 3 kids, so I'm just living 1 hour to the next. But just today, seeing faces that I hadn't seen in forever, they were with not a Goodwill group, but they still go to Goodwill for different things. And one of them hugged me and asked how my baby was doing, and I hadn't seen her, and gosh, it had to have been a couple of years. So just, they might not necessarily be remembering the art, but this sense of community or a connection to something outside of their day-to-day has been really special. So there's a lot of instances like that. Sometimes I've given out postcards and they've held on to it and things like that. But for me, it's the seeing it and them remembering me personally. The personal connection is kind of the stuff that's always stuck with me.
Why do you think it's important for us to have these conversations about accessibility in art?
Man, because art is a human right. And for everybody, artists should be accessible by all, regardless of ability or race or gender or whatever. And it wakes up a soul. It makes you feel, expressive. And so seeing it on so many different ranges, on so many different levels, particularly with my groups, you need art. You need art to feel, to just live. And so experiencing it in the galleries, in front of the actual artwork. How special, the fact that they have vans that they can go on field trips to see the culture in their city and in their country. That's, to me, that's what makes life so special. So it's important that everybody has the same availability and accessibility to art. We do virtual programming now for Alzheimer's, that we want to be able to meet people where they are. And so, a few times we did, or maybe even once or twice, I can't even remember, we did go to Goodwill Grapevine to bring the art to them, essentially. And so we looked at posters, not the same, but the conversation was the same and the art activity was the same. So we do, we have that flexibility to make it what it needs to be for these types of organizations, because any exposure to art is better than no exposure to art. We prefer it in the galleries, but if that doesn't work, then we can bring the galleries to you.
Yeah, and it's basic form, right? It seems like language. You don't need to speak the same to appreciate it. And
no,
I really appreciate the the kinesthetic element that y'all put into it. So it's hands-on and very engaging. How would you like to see your program expanded in the next 5-10 years?
Man, I keep saying man because these are such good questions. You get into your day-to-day and you just kind of keep moving forward. COVID, as most anybody with an immunocompromise, COVID was a real hit to accessibility, because it does take that trust, it does take that connection, and with people turning over in their jobs and with people not sure what going out into the public again, what that meant. For the last couple of years, it was really just building back these connections, whether it's establishing a new one with whoever is working at that day have facility, or making it so these places felt like they were safe in a public space again, germ-wise. Now that we're getting back to our better than our pre-COVID numbers, I just want more, more day have facilities to feel like they can come here, but then also let these families know who are bringing their children or adult children to these places, that you can come here too. There are things for you to do outside of, to enjoy the art outside of Goodwill. And we're seeing an increase in visitors who identify with special needs at the museum, a significant jump in the last 5 years. So that's indicating that people are feeling comfortable coming here. So I want I would hope that it's outside of these facilities that families are like, okay, we know that this is a place our child is familiar with, our child feels comfortable with, we know our child is welcomed there.
Right.
Let's get them in. So continuing to grow outside of just the programmatic visit. That was a very long-winded answer for a very short answer.
That is for sure like a conversation that I have had just with, parents or guardians of or people who have, a family member with a disability. There is that like real fear that either, the stigma of having a disability in public or just like introducing all of these new sights and sounds and everything will like trigger a bad response. So like, I think it's very cool that we have places like the Amon Carter that work to make it as accessible as possible. Well, I wanted to let you know that your efforts are super appreciated.
Oh, thank you.
And we actually have a letter from Mike Jones, who's the program manager for Grapevine. So he gave us a couple words that he wanted us to say to you if you don't.
Oh my goodness, this is so sweet.
All right. So, to whom it may concern, it's with great pleasure that I write to you today to nominate Peggy Speir for the Community Member of the Year Award. I believe that Peggy is the best choice for this award because she consistently displays our company values of helping individuals to overcome barriers in the community setting. Peggy's ability to communicate and interact with our participants has been of great value. Peggy shares her knowledge and love of the creative arts with our members. She takes the time to ensure that they understand and feel comfortable learning. So,
oh my goodness, that's so kind.
So Mike is not the only person that feels that way. Goodwill Leadership has noticed the work that you've done.
Oh my goodness.
we would like to name you our 2023 Community Member of the Year.
Oh my goodness, this is so sweet. Hugs.
We had this interview like scheduled or planned out ahead of time, but we were like, this is perfect timing. So.
Oh my goodness, I'm shaking. I'm so shocked. This is so kind. Because I really just do this because I love it, like for nothing other than just for me, selfishly. So for other people to like feel that this is so important, that's so, oh my God, thank y'all.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
So nice. Can I open this?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm opening an envelope for those of you viewers at home or listeners at home. Oh my goodness. A luncheon?
We would like to invite you to our annual board staff
luncheon.
luncheon.
This is so sweet. Oh, well, I will be there. Oh, this is very kind. Thank you all so much. Bring one guest. All right.
Yeah, even like me personally, like I love anytime I get to come out here with the stars and, take photos and videos because their joy and like their creativity is so evident. Just being there and even like on the film or photos that we get, like you can just tell they're having an amazing time.
Like I feel like the Goodwill always has the best sense of humor. So I think because we've all known each other long enough where it's like you can kind of razz people, who's going to give it back and who isn't. So I always look forward to when you guys come. And you guys, in the beginning of the year, I mean, I know this year's been crazy. We were seeing each other, it was once a week. And now I got to reach back out to Holly so we can up it again because this is, this is like so nice. Like this is, when you're asking why you do what you do, this is like the type, like where people feel like you're making an impact and it's not just me thinking I'm making an impact. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet.
So if someone was interested in joining Connect to Art for a session or two, what would be the best way for them to get connected?
So they can call the museum. You can reach me directly. You can email me at Peggys, P-E-G-G-Y-S, at cartermuseum.org. Or call me at 817-989-5037, and we can set up a tour that works with your time. We are closed on Mondays. The museum is closed on Mondays, and we typically do these tours on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, just given gallery availability, stuff like that. So you can do one visit. We can schedule serial visits. It really, and then that's how we've done it with Goodwill. Some months we're on every week. Some years we're on every month. It just depends on what works for that organization, but we're very flexible.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for speaking with me today.
Thank you. guys, this has been really fun.
And congratulations again.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to seeing you at the board staff
December
luncheon.
5th at 11 a.m.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you once again to Peggy for speaking with us today and for all the work that you do with our stars. Congratulations on being named our 2023 Community Member of the Year.
If you're interested in learning more about the Carter, you can go to cartermuseum.org, and don't forget, admission is always free. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. You have been listening to GoodCast, a podcast produced by Goodwill North Central Texas. To stay up to date on all things Goodwill NCT, be sure to check out our social media and sign up for our newsletter. And if you have a second, we'd appreciate it if you could share the show with a friend or leave us a review on iTunes. It is the fastest way to help the show grow. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find podcasts.